Welcome back to another episode of What's in the Box. It's been a minute since I put one of these together. I did do a live What's in the Box a couple weeks ago. I know I need to get back to doing content, just making some content, you know, because I don't know, because I have nothing else to do, because I want to. I like to make all kinds of content. I just don't have a lot of energy, and kind of sucks not being able to get stuff done and needing to lay down a lot. But you know, I'm still here, so that's what matters most. I got a bunch of stuff today. I've been picking up Valiant. I went and bought a very large collection from my buddy Russ at Mill Geek. Digging through his 50-cent bin, which turns into quarters if you buy 10 or more. So I bought 2 long boxes full of Valiant. I got almost an entire run of Ninjak. One of the boxes later is actually the Ninjak completion. So I'll have Ninjak completed for the first round. I don't have all the Acclaim stuff and the later stuff. Those are really low print. Even like 20,000 being the average print run, I think, for some of the stuff that came out in the early teens. So that stuff will be fun to track down. Although it's not expensive, some of it's super rare. Like there's a couple pieces that are only, you know, a couple hundred made, and they're just not super expensive right now because nobody's loving on Valiant. Everybody hates Valiant after the Bloodshot, but I loved Valiant. Valiant was one of my favorite comic producers when I was a kid, and I did talk my store owner into, you know, investing heavily in it, which was a big mistake, but he made a lot of mistakes. One was listening to a 12-year-old boy. So here is Chaos Effects Omega, a gold label. This is just a cheap little pickup. I think it was $9.95, and little shipping and handling. You saw it was crap packaging. Looks like it's got one spine tick. It's probably an 8.0. Still cool. The gold labels, I believe, were, I don't know, each of them might have been different. They're like 1 in 50s or 1 in 75s, something like that. So a store got them if they bought enough. Which, you know, at the time of Chaos Effect, a lot of stores. So I would almost consider it kind of like a one per store, because stores were buying that many, and some stores were buying more than that. So just consider it like a one per store. I'd have to look up the print run for the gold Chaos, but there are some very enthusiastic gentlemen who did that early on the internet. There's a decades-old website called Valiant Fans that has all the information you ever want about Valiant. Print runs and stuff like that. It's great. Although I think I found stuff that was not really talked about on there. There were some error comics that didn't get a lot of love, even on the Valiant website. So this is Unnatural Order from Vault. I believe this is issue 1. Yep, Unnatural Order. This is a Comics Curing Cancer exclusive variant for Unnatural Order number 1. There were only 250 of them made, and I got myself one of them. I almost bought a few, but I figured I'd let other people in the community have some because it's very limited, like I said. And it looks awesome. I haven't read this series, so I know nothing about this Unnatural Order, but DJ Links, I believe, was the one who coordinated this, and books donated by the Comic Mint. So thank you, Comic Mint, for donating to Comics Curing Cancer, which was this last weekend, and they did hit $50,000 this year. So congratulations to Rob and DJ Links and all the others who contributed. It was fun. All right, the last box here. This was a cheapie box. It's mostly filler stuff. Right? Stab myself. Mostly filler stuff from the old Valiant, so not a lot of value. So I got a bunch of them for a good price. I don't know how well they packaged them. But it looks like not very. Alright. I think I paid like, I want to say $68 for this ship. So you can see they're fragile. And then, I don't know what kind of condition they came in. I don't know if they were in the greatest of condition to begin with, but it looks like they definitely took some damage in transit too. But for the price, this was all filler. There's some Shadow Man here. Let's see. I'll go through all this. This is the Ninjak. So these are all going to need to be rebagged and boarded. Magnus number 3. Magnus number 4. So this is all pre-Unity stuff. And these were, I think I paid like $3 a piece for those. Number 8. Number 9. Number 10. I already have 12, which is the Return of Turok. And I've got a couple of copies of 5, which is the first Rye. And I think I've got 1 or 2 copies of the first one too. These were just fillers that I hadn't bothered to pick up because I hadn't bothered until I started putting this together. Let's see, here was a vintage Magnus Robot Fighter. There should be an issue 2 of this as well, but number 1 for that. There's some of the Ninja. There it is. Number 2 of vintage Magnus Robot Fighter. There are only 4 issues of this, and I only picked up the 4th issue in my first collection. Oh, here's issue number 2 of Magnus Robot Fighter. I believe I have to go through them, but it said they had the cards in them. So they're Harbinger and Magnus both did cards. So like the first 6 issues all had a special card in it. You cut them out, you sent them in, and you got in return issue 0. So I would say, I don't know how many of the print runs have been turned in. I know Harbinger 1, there was only like 6,000 or 6,500 of the Harbinger 0 pink version that were released. So there was like 40,000 issue. The lowest print run issue is like 40,000. So, you know, 32 or 30 something, 31.5, 32,000 available on that. That low print run, I think that's issue 6. There's Magnus number 25, which is, I had one of these, but the one I pulled out of his box was in rough shape, and this is a beautiful copy of it. So it's like, yeah, man. All right. There's the Magnus. So let me see where we go with the Ninjak here. 10, 9, there we go. 13. I believe that's the last one there. 19, 20. Yeah, man. This is cool. We had most of the filler I needed for that run. Or all of the filler I needed for that run. Should there be a Ninjak 0 and a 1? Yes, there are. Shadow Man. Alright. 7, 1, and 0. So here's Ninjak 0. This is Ninjak 1. This is a chromium cover. I've got all of the other ones separately. 7, 9. Pretty much starting with this Valiant brand change here, where they started putting the titles on the left-hand side of the comics. The print run went way down at that point, because that was, I believe that was right after or right when they got into a feud with Wizard, who delisted all of their comics, which started the sharp decline as people stopped buying the hundreds and hundreds of copies they were as investments, right? So for a couple of years there, after the Unity stuff, Valiant went absolutely insane with their printing. And then shortly after, it was only like 2 or 3 years, they, you know, crashed and burned when they got into an argument with Wizard. Here's issue 17, 19. These are the lower print ones right here. There's 20, 21, the second to last issue, 25, and the last Ninjak issue from the first Valiant. I'm not sure how low print run these last issues are for the Ninjak, but I'm assuming pretty low. That'll be my second one of those. And here's Magnus from earlier I missed, number 55. It's one of the higher numbers that I didn't have. And I think I'm missing one. Yeah, no, there it is. And Magnus 57. Very late Magnus, low print and stuff. But cheap. Those are still cheap, right? The last issues sometimes get a little pricey, but even some of this low print and stuff is just super cheap. And as a completist, it tickles me pink to be able to be collecting stuff that I can put runs together for very cheap, right? So here's some later Shadow Man stuff that he had that I needed to fill. So issue 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 42, and then a yearbook one. Shadow Man's a great character. I think Rai was probably my favorite. I didn't read Ninjak originally, but I think I'm going to go, now that I have the full run, I'm going to go read the whole thing. Why not? They were super cheap. It's going to be a fun read, I'm sure. I know Ninjak was very popular, is still very popular. He has a very cultish following. And they keep revitalizing him every time they try to reboot Valiant. So, that's it. You guys have a good day.